What's up guys, and welcome to day 42 of the 100 days RunStreak challenge. My name is Jeremy and you are on the marathon experience, and today we're going to discuss how you can read your Garmin analytics data. Let's go. I don't know about you, but I am a big fan of getting some data, and that's why I love my running watch from Garmin. But sometimes seeing all the data that those watches are able to accumulate, it feels kind of overwhelming, to the point that you don't even know why you're getting all those data if you can't even analyze them and get a proper feedback out of them. So today I thought maybe we could just break it down to the most important data that you have to master when you're reading your analytics after a run. Bear in mind that I'm not a running expert and I am only going to show the data that I am actually looking at when I try to analyze my own run. I'll try to give you some insight regarding what I know about those data and what they can tell about how your run went and what you should do differently. But please, by any means, do your own research. I'm not a coach, I'm not a doctor. This is only my own opinion on how to treat those data. I got my laptop here, I got the run of the day, so let's have a look. First, and that's pretty obvious, you've got the time, the pace, elevation, number of calories, and the distance, obviously. Those are pretty essentials. You've probably been monitoring them while you were running anyway. And to be fair, I'll probably argue that those data are probably the most essential one, and it might be completely fine if you're only monitoring those. I'm not even talking about calories here. I'm only talking about the pace you're following, the distance, and the time. Honestly, most of the training could be just summarized with those three data. But let's look at what Garmin has got more for us. One thing that I find pretty cool is this kind of heat map. I call it the heat map. I'm not sure that's the case, but it's basically this color coding of the different paces that you had during your run. It's a quick way to see, oh, okay, I was fast on this section, the slower on this one. Then you can also compare it with the elevation, which is just below it. And actually, by moving your mouse around the elevation, you can see a point moving around the heat map. That's a good way to know if maybe you were being slower because this was like a big uphill, or vice versa, you're going faster because it was downhill. That's a good way to analyze your run and look at the different section and why you were faster or slower at some point. A general overview with the heat map would be that, for instance, if you look at my heat map here, it does feel like there's color basically all over the place, which would be fine if you were aiming at having a big variation in your paces, like if you're doing intervals or if it's really hilly. But in my case, I'm running a steady 10K, so I would expect actually this to be more like either all blue or more like all red, but basically more homogeneous. It does feel like I haven't been really managing my effort very well during this run, with some peaks that I don't really know why they are here. So now if you look at the pace, kind of the same thing, it's just a different visualization than the heat map. Could be cool to also like enlarge this a little bit. And although on this curve it does feel like I've been following a line with the pace, but you do see quite a lot of peaks in this, and in my case it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for being steady during this run. So a good feedback from this was telling me that I didn't handle very well the steady pace in this case. I can do better with this. Then we have one of the most followed data by runners. It's the heart rate. So I have two comments on this. First is that personally I don't train with heart rate so much. There are even like very good runners who would even declare that they were not running with heart rate and not training with it. So I don't put too much emphasis into looking at those data myself, just because honestly I don't have the knowledge to know if this is good or bad. I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory. You can look at the heart rate and you'll be able to understand where it went up and down. Second thing I want to say, I'm only monitoring the heart rate with the wristwatch like this, so the sensor is in the watch, which is a lot less accurate than with a strap that you have around the chest. Performance condition, that's pretty interesting, and that's something that sometimes is, I don't know, it's kind of like a good or bad news, I don't know how to say it. Garmin has this special algorithm that within the first 6 to 20 minutes, it will give you a feedback about, based on your own fitness level, based on the history of all your run, pace, speed, cadence, etc. It will be able to tell you if the run you've just started is at the optimal condition or if you're overperforming, underperforming compared to before. And this might seem like it's a cool idea from Garmin, that's pretty nice. Sometimes when you just want to go and have a low pace, long run, where you don't want to push yourself too hard, and you see that your performance condition is at -4, it doesn't give you so much motivation to go on. But I mean, you just have to take this statistic with a grain of salt, and just knowing that this is just something average that Garmin is doing. I don't think anyone is basing their training based on that, honestly. It's just a way of saying, oh, compared to the average of your runs, this one you're being slightly slower, or you're being slightly faster. Running cadence would be the number of steps you're doing on the ground, basically. I've read a little bit of theory on this, mostly in the Eat and Run book from Scott Jurek. That was pretty interesting. For instance, I learned that most of the ultra marathoners start to do a higher cadence, but so a smaller stride. But you cover less distance in each step, but you're trying to increase the cadence. That's a way to relax the muscle. Also, if you're running for a very long amount of time or long distance. But to be fair, I don't look at this a lot, and for my usual 10k and RunStreak like this, honestly, I don't think there is even a point of looking at the cadence. I just wanted to mention it, that if you want to look at the cadence, there are people even running with a special music that gives you a precise BPM, so you can try to follow the music with your steps, and that will give you 160, 170, 180 SPM. Finally, you can see here most of the statistics gathered, like the general statistics. You can see the difference between anaerobic and aerobic effort, which basically mean have you been more working towards your explosivity and how fast you can sprint, etc., or more on your stamina or endurance type of thing. You can see here that since I'm running at a pretty low pace compared to usually, this is purely on the endurance side and nothing much on the anaerobic side. Laps could be a pretty cool feature as well. So I think on pretty much every Garmin watch, you'll have a button to be able to lap sometimes. So if you're doing intervals, it's really interesting to just press it every time you're doing intervals, so you have a lap. And at the end here, you will see all the different lapses. That's a good way to know which interval you've done at what time. It's a good way to have all the different sections of your run. Time in zones, again, if you're training with HR, this is basically just chopping your HR curve into 5 different zones. Zones are determined by Garmin itself based on your previous data. I'm not really training with heart rate, so I can't really say how relevant this is and how good it would be to use that in your training. As a general feedback, you can see that I didn't really push myself so much, which is the purpose anyway. I'm doing a run streak, so I run every single day, so I'm not pushing myself too hard. I try to keep it steady. That's why I mostly never go into zone 4 or 5. That's it, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and please go ahead and leave a comment. Question of the day would be, have you ever looked at those data, and which data do you think is the most interesting for you to follow and give you the best feedback on your run. Now, regarding the RunStreak update of the day, you've already seen my run. Pretty usual pace. I did my 10k in just an hour, just another 10k in the books, so that's done. Regarding my weight, this morning it was at 78.5. Again, that's very much anticipated that my weight will go up after the cheat meal 2 days ago, so nothing big there. Let's just wait 2 or 3 more days and keep on eating healthy and running and doing my One Punch Man challenge, where I do 60 squats, 60 push-ups and 60 sit-ups, and I'm sure that the weight will go down naturally. By the way, if you're joining the channel right now, I am in the middle of a 100 days run streak challenge where I run a 10k every single day. I also upload a video on YouTube every single day to give you a feedback and some advice, tips, and anything else to help you run. So if you want to be part of the journey, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you tomorrow.